Hey everybody, seems like a million of them out there, but I figured I'd give my take on what I thought of The Dark Knight. Huge Batman fan, always have been. I think he's probably my favorite superhero. I just think he's maybe because he's tied the closest into reality besides maybe ones like Spider-Man, but even still he's got the powers, and all Batman has is gadgets. Now, coming off The Dark Knight, it's really difficult to top it. It's one of the best superhero films ever made. Now, I didn't want to watch it, mainly because I'm not a fan of Bane. The fact that they went for the whole Nightfall angle, interesting. I don't think they pulled it off that well. It's probably better than Batman Begins, but Dark Knight, no, not at all. Now, what I wanted to discuss and talk about here is the ending. Everybody wants to know if it's a la Inception. We've gotten some sort of confirmation, like Michael Caine about 3 weeks ago. He said how, everything is real, but Hollywood, everything is as real as you want to believe it is. Now, there are some key factors. I'll get them out of the way. One of the first things that makes it real is at the end, why would Alfred picture him with Selina when he barely knew her? I think he only met her one time in the film. That's the second strongest evidence that it's actually real. Now, the first is the string of pearls that she's wearing, because it's only referenced to him, I think, one or two times as well in the film that she actually took them. So why would he imagine her as actually having them? Now, besides those two pieces, there aren't a lot of more evidence there that it actually isn't real. Now, let me point out the serenity of the moment. It's exactly the same feel as when Alfred describes his fantasy to Bruce at the beginning of, not necessarily the beginning of the movie, but when he actually discusses with him what he always envisioned him being when he left. Is that he would meet him, they would nod, he would know he was okay, bam, boom, fine, awesome. The problem is, there are a lot of things in the ending that don't make sense. Besides, in the how do you describe it? The biggest one that doesn't make any sense at all is the bomb. Now, that can be argued that he made it out because obviously there's the scene where the autopilot is fixed, blah 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 blah. I understand that. The thing is, they show the scene, 4 seconds left, whatever. He ejected. Okay, I would buy the ejection argument if he didn't have a bridge full of 1,000 people watching him, and obviously Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character was bright enough, and they never explained how he figured out it was Bruce Wayne, but obviously he could do it because I believe it was Jack Ryder in The Dark Knight figured it out. Who knows? Some people's brains work differently, and other people think, fuck, he's a billionaire, and he's got all these fucking toys, so where's he getting them from? Obviously, your Joe Schmo off the fucking street's not going to have access to them, so I guess it's really not that far-fetched. The thing is, as you've been watching at the very beginning of this clip I'm showing here, is Talia's talking about the slow knife. Now, she's talking about herself, but at the same time, she's also referencing the fact that she stabs Batman directly in between his ribs. That normally is going to be a killing blow slowly, and I believe there's the symbology of that statement, and at the same time, she twists the blade, so the wound isn't going to heal, and there's not a lot they could do about the internal damage. Now, getting on to the second part of this video, and I apologize about the fucking captions, but there's no way for me to remove them because some videos you just get shit. Now, I like the whole concept of possibly a Robin movie or a Nightwing movie, or, we may see the Justice League movie, which is going to be really difficult for it not to suck. But I digress. I come back to all of the different things that add up to this ending being either real or is it surreal, because here in the scene you're watching now, Alfred is broken completely because he left Bruce in an attempt to save him, but at the same time his mind is completely stricken with grief. Now, it makes sense as well. It also makes sense at the end of the movie because he goes back to the place that he talked about with Bruce because the estate's gone, there's nothing left in Gotham for Alfred, so he just goes away. Now, somebody pointed out to me that the entire thing at the cafe at the end, which you're going to see here in a few moments, is actually going to be completely staged by Bruce. Because if you notice, the waiter has this very interesting smile on his face when he's pointing Alfred to his seat. You never see Alfred actually order the drink. He just looks surprised when he gets it. But the thing is if you look at that ending, he looks over in the vicinity where Bruce is sitting, staring at him 4 or 5 times before he finally makes eye contact. Now, he's stricken with grief, but he knows Bruce. Everybody knows Bruce. Well, maybe not there, but you know what I mean. So it strikes me as odd that it would take him 4 or 5 glances to actually notice a person that he's taken care of their entire life. Does that instantly mean that the ending's fake? No, but it does give some leadway therein. Besides that, I mean, the best argument that can possibly be made, in my eyes, is at the ending of the movie where there's that moment where he's flying, I guess they call it the Batwing, whatever you want to call it. It's this weird-ass fucking helicopter alien thing that nobody seems to notice. Is when he's flying it away and he has all those people watching him. There's that scene where it shows the countdown. Now, obviously, yeah, he could have ejected. They showed it off scene. Or it could be a la Inception, where you're never really supposed to know. But when you see him, obviously, the cockpit is the exact same as the Bat before. So the cockpit hasn't actually been altered, so you can't tell whether or not he's in a different vehicle. But it's the moment where he seems completely at peace, because he references early in the movie that he's not afraid of dying, but that he's actually afraid of dying in the hole, as opposed to actually dying saving his city. So to me, it feels like it could be he could have just been flying and he's at peace knowing that he actually finally saved Gotham, and his final act is actually going to cause Batman to become what ultimately this entire story was about, and that's the fact that there can only be one Superman. There can only be one Spider-Man. All these people and all these superheroes that have powers, there can only be one of them. But Batman becomes more than that for an entire city, because he becomes a symbol, because he is just a man. Now, he's an eccentric billionaire, some bitch, but he's just a man. He doesn't have powers. And that's the whole point they try and convey from the very first movie until the very final scenes, is that Batman is more than just a person. He can be anybody. That's the whole point of the amenity of his character, is that he can actually, is that it's a symbol. That's simply all it is. Now, once again, I point out, coming to the end of this, the whole serenity of the scene and the whole happy ending, it just doesn't feel like it belongs in this trilogy. So maybe it's just me being nitpicky. Maybe there's nothing here. I actually think there is. But you take a look at the ending, you let me know, leave some comments, let me know what you think. Thanks y'all for watching.